not a problem. Hey, congratulations for Triggered.
Thank you.
You know, in fact, I actually watched it twice. It's a guilty pleasure, guilty
I'm
fun.
sorry. Thank you, man. Sure, we should have got you to pay for it. We would have made double the money.
That's right. Hey, so tell you what initially attracted you to do something like Triggered that
Sure.
you want to direct?
So my previous films have all been kind of supernatural horrors, lots of makeup, big scary monsters kind of thing. And I just wanted something different now. I wanted to do, I think man is a bigger monster than that. So I was looking for something that was a little bit different to what I'd done before. We've been working with this writer called David, and he pitched us this film where the good guys are all the bad guys, and we don't need a big antagonist, that each one of the characters takes a role being the bad guy. And we just loved it, and he injected it with a sick, twisted sense of humor, and it was just something that we felt like no one else is going to make this movie. That's why we have to make it.
So did you use a different approach towards a movie like Trigger, because it's a lot more, action, fast paced? I'm not sure what it was like with the other horror movies that you have previously directed.
Yeah, so we had a lot less time to make this film. So by nature, it was just a lot quicker anyway. The approach was, we actually thought this film was going to be very easy to make. Like on paper, it didn't read like a lot of action. It didn't read like a lot of running. It was just very, there were like big scenes of dialogue. And we thought, well, this is going to be easy to do. This is just, set up the camera and as long as the actors know their dialogue, we're safe. It was only once we got onto set that we realized, oh man, these action scenes are so difficult to shoot. We didn't have stunt coordinators or anything like that. So we lent into that. We made the film scrappy, and it's like we tried to make it as realistic as we could. Like we didn't glam up the fight scenes in any way. We lent into the scrappiness of the situation.
What is your attraction to horror? Because I did look at your filmography, and all of your directing projects have been horror. Why do you love horror so much?
I don't know. It's like, and I'm not like this weird guy. Like, I'm actually quite a boring human being. It's not like I've got this dark kind of nature or anything like that. I'm quite a chilled guy. I think it's the aesthetic of it. I think you can have some real fun with the lighting, the makeup, the costumes. I'm drawn to that like visual style. I think you can have more fun with it.
Well, in the case of with this, did you basically have to use a lot of creativity towards the makeup and everything else, because it's not really supernatural, right?
Yeah. No, it's not supernatural. And we also, again, we understated the makeup effects. We thought, all right, well, a lot of the stuff will be off camera. We'll just hide our, if we don't have the money to show cool stuff, we'll do it off camera. But we got a really cool mother and son team that did the makeup, and we just got onto set, and they just blew us away with their prosthetic work. They had gone above and beyond, and we were just able to show everything in camera. It was awesome. It was real guerrilla style, cheap practical effects, but that it really worked.
Now, a lot of people wouldn't know is that this film was done in South Africa. In fact, myself being here in the United States, when I think of South Africa, I think of running zebras, rhinoceros, hippos, desert, tall grass. But this was entirely in the forest. I mean, talk about the setting that you constructed.
Well, that was one of the things we wanted to do. It's just easier to sell an American film as South Africans. Our accents are difficult to understand. When we make films with our native tongues, it's kind of relegated to art house filmography, like art house kind of circuits, no matter how commercial they are. So we set out to make an American film. But now in South Africa, as you say, like we don't have your aesthetic, we don't have your streets, we don't have your roads, we don't have your houses or buildings. So it was easy to find a forest. Like a forest is a forest, right? Even if we don't have the exact plants that you guys do, we can just dim the lights and we just darken it. So like you don't really see it. And if that still doesn't work, we would just add in a ton of mist. So that was our kind of way of setting it in America in the easiest way. We had to rent 2 or 3 American cars for the beginning, and yeah, wham bam, you're in America.
Talk about filming in that forest, because it was all nighttime shoots, and I understand it practically rained the whole time.
Yeah, it practically rained for 6 out of the 17 days, which is a big chunk of your shooting schedule. The forest was, look, it was awesome to be in that forest, but it was difficult as well. There's tons of mosquitoes. You slip with the mud. There's big ditches and ravines that you can fall down. Also, like the continuity of the forest, like you've got 30 people trekking down the path every night. Your set is literally getting depleted every single day. So the forest actually got thinner and thinner as the film like progressed, because we shot the film in order. Whereas like in a directing treatment, we would have gone, oh, you know, we want the forest to get thicker and close in on the people as the movie progresses. But we were running out of forest. We were wrecking that place like crazy. Luckily, it's not protected forest or anything. It was all weeds, and it was a side valley on a horse farm. So it's not like protected or anything like that. It's all grown back, I promise you.
You mentioned that you filmed the scenes in order. That's usually unusual for a lot of different productions. Why did you go that route?
We didn't have a continuity person on set, so we realized like we're going to follow each character from A, B, C, D, E, like in order. It was easier to just monitor performance. You know, if the character fell down like into the mud, we didn't have to clean the clothes. It was just progressing like that with the wear and tear of the film. It was also good for the actors to kind of get, you know, they didn't have to think too much about their characters. They weren't jumping around like that. They were actually progressing along with their storylines, and we were able to adapt and change things because of that, because the characters actually knew exactly where they were in the movie the whole time. They know what they had been through, and they're able to suggest like interesting things that, you know, in the script we hadn't thought about yet, you know. So there were times when Cameron, who plays PJ, he would be like, I really feel like my character wouldn't do this. And you believe the guy now, you know, because he's the guy living in those scenes, you know. He's not relying on you or a continuity person to be like, okay, but we'll you know, we haven't shot that scene that precedes this scene, so, you know, the pieces will all fit together later. They were able to actually go like, no, this is not working the way it should work. Can we fix it here? And that was another big reason for doing it.
I love your style of guerrilla filmmaking. That you are very creative to pull this off. So
yeah, thanks, man. Thank you.
hey, so tell us about the vest that you had everyone wear. I mean, you know, by watching the movie, it looks bulky, but from my understanding, it's not. It's just movie magic.
It's fun. Yeah, we got a cosplayer in Florida to design them. And he built them and he designed them, and they were great. They were awesome, but they were built for, you know, cosplay conventions and you know, the catwalk, and you know, that was a problem for us when they arrived back in South Africa. So we had to really like get them a little bit more rugged, galvanize them a little bit more, just reinforce them. They kept falling apart. They were the biggest pain ever. Yeah. They were super light. They're actually like folded away in a cupboard right now. It's just fun.
Talk about your cast. Why was your cast actually perfect? Because it's a fairly young cast, and I'm assuming they're all South Africans.
They are all South Africans, yes. So we had a buddy that we worked with on our last film, and he was a great actor. His name's Stephen. He plays Ezra in the film, and we were like, well, he's going to anchor the cast for us. He's very connected in the casting world in South Africa. He works as a casting agent, so he was able to like give us a lot of old tapes of other actors, and we kind of built up from there. Everything was a you know, a recommendation from a friend by a friend of a friend, and that's how we built up the cast like that. A lot of the guys were were unknown, but that also worked in our advantage. They didn't come with any egos. They didn't come with any expectations. A lot of them just came to have fun and make a movie.
You had them bond before the production, so that this way they create that synergy of being friends or frenemies.
I'd love to take the credit for that. They did do that, but it wasn't on my request. They just kind of all we had our first script read through, and after that they just, you know, went out to a bar and hung out, and, you know, they just became best friends. They were on, yeah, they became huge buddies. It was awesome.
Excellent. That does sound pretty awesome. Well, let me start wrapping things up on my end here, because you and I are speaking via Zoom. I'm assuming on opposite sides of the planet, but
Yeah.
with the crazy times that are actually going on here, how are you staying sane and creative?
Well, I don't know if I am staying sane. It's difficult. Nobody really knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So we're in a bit of a limbo here in South Africa. Our lockdown regulations have decreased, whereas your guys have increased. So we've gone through the worst kind of quarantine and stuff like that. So hopefully things are going to get better. I'm just watching movies, and there doesn't seem to be that many new ones coming out. People are a bit scared to release them. So, like, I've used this opportunity to go back and watch films that I've never had the time to watch. And I wouldn't mention them now. I'd be embarrassed to mention like these masterpieces that I've just completely overlooked for 35 years. But that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been going back into the archives and seeing what I've missed out on.
Most excellent. And one more question before I left. If you were one of those people in those group of friends and you get to choose on who you would actually, you know, axe off first, who would you axe off first?
Out of those guys, I would go for Kato. I'd have to go for Kato. He's gonna, yeah. I'd have to kill him first, huh?
Right off the bat. Terrific.
Right off the bat. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Alastair. I appreciate this conversation.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye now.